I want to read two articles, okay? And they sort of are, they run together in my thought, and one of them, of course, is this week, and one of them is last week, and I think you'll see sort of uh, the comparison between them two, or what they both have in common. So you probably don't have this in front of you. I'm reading last week's article now, and I really enjoyed this. We didn't do it last week because we finished up on the Easter stuff. So last week's article. I'm pretty bummed right now. Turkey season remains closed in my home area for another week. That's 2 weeks later than it used to be just a few years ago. For some reason, I thought it had only been pushed back 1 week, and I was already looking forward to a pre-Easter turkey meal. Now it feels like I'll be rushed to just to enjoy what's left of the season. If I had known, I would have headed south and gotten started earlier. I'll remember that next year. Or maybe I'll just take advantage of the delay and do some early fishing before the season opens. But for now, my outdoor life has been reduced to mowing grass and taking a few bike rides. And honestly, I feel cooped up. There's no doubt in my mind I was made for something beyond my present existence. I know it because of its absence. I feel it in the pool, in the yearning that wells up inside me. It reminds me of those little sea turtles that are born up in the weeds along the beach. The moment they break through the egg, they run towards the ocean. They've never been there, never seen it, and no one shows them the way to go, and yet they go. There are a thousand illustrations like that in nature. And then there's you and me. C.S. Lewis described it this way in Mere Christianity, quote, creatures are not born with desires unless satisfaction for those desires exists. A baby feels hunger. Well, there's such a thing as food. A duckling wants to swim. Well, there's such a thing as water. Men feel sexual desire. Well, there's such a thing as sex. If I find in myself a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that I was made for another world. If none of my earthly pleasures satisfy it, that does not prove that the universe is a fraud. Probably earthly pleasures were never meant to satisfy it, but only to arouse it, to suggest the real thing. If that's so, I must take care, on the one hand, never to despise or be unthankful for these earthly blessings, and on the other, never to mistake them for the something else of which they are only a kind of copy or echo or mirage. Close quote. Lately, I have felt these urges in far more important things than turkey hunting. I watch the news. I scroll through social media posts. I see anger, vitriol, and contempt for anything good or godly. Or worse, I see an apathy for anything spiritual. I see a world that increasingly looks foreign to the one I know exists. And yet the one I know exists, I have never seen. But I long for it, not because I want to leave this world, but because this world no longer feels like home. Maybe that's because home isn't a place, it's a person and a people. Now, let me read this last article, or yesterday's article. There's nothing like barreling down the lake in the spring or summer at 5 a.m. in the morning. The cool mist will wake up everyone. But it's not really the air that is alarming. It's the possibility of a big bass that is ready for breakfast, buzz bait style. To see the calm water come to life with a massive explosion is fishing at its finest. There is, however, a technique for this type of fishing. Most people set the hook when they see the bass strike. That's a big mistake. You just missed another one. The art of catching bass on a buzzbait is not to set the hook when you see the bass strike, but to wait until you feel the tug. The time between the two may only be a second, but it's the difference between success and failure. It's a hard discipline for some because we're so used to responding immediately to sight. It looks like a strike. It looks like I've got him. It looks like he's on, but he's not. Not until you feel the tug. This is a great lesson for life. Most of the time, we live our lives according to what we see, and we react accordingly. We think whatever the circumstances look like, this is what they must be. If it looks hopeless, it must be. If it looks like the end, it must be. If it looks like there's no way out, there must not be. And we react accordingly. There is, however, a mechanism that God has placed within us. It's a tug. It's the voice of God saying, don't walk by sight, but by faith. It is him saying, don't ever count the situation hopeless until I've been added to the equation. It is him saying, no matter how bleak the circumstance, I will have the last word. Friend, don't set the hook on your circumstances at the first sight of trouble. Wait on the tug of God, and he will turn every situation into one that is worth keeping. So I think maybe you see the comparison of the two, and that is there's a tug and there's a pull, right? There's a tug and there's a pull. You know, when I especially the week before last or last week when I wrote that first article, man, I tell you, I probably I may say I was a little discouraged. That may not be totally discouraged, but it bothers me a lot when I look at social media, perhaps mostly when I look at social media, and I do social media because Outdoor Truth has a social media pages. I'm rarely on like Facebook. I have an account. I'm rarely on that. I do some stuff on X with like crypto type stuff, but to follow social media and to watch people and to listen to people and how they react and what they do and don't do and it can be really discouraging. One of the things that really bothered me, to be honest with you, was on Easter morning, and I don't really post on Sunday. I don't do anything on Sunday there, but I was just scrolling through all that on Easter morning, and it just amazed me how that how many people couldn't care less about the greatest day, what you and I would call the greatest day in our lives, really, and for sure of what we believe. That people posting things that or not even recognizing the great day it was, or things like that, and it just bothered me. And what I've thought of a lot lately in the past few years actually is that this place that, and I know I'm older now, but this place I just don't feel like I belong. And I don't say that as a victim or woe is me or anything like that, because if you've been around me or we've done an event or whatever, I enjoy myself. But it just feels like that, I just don't belong. That, what I have come to learn, and as I've grown in my Christian life over the years and all those things, it just it's just don't feel right. There's something that still feels like it just doesn't belong, like there's more, and I can't fully get it. But then I started to realize that maybe that's not the problem. Maybe the problem is that it's not that there's something missing that I need to find here, but maybe that's the life of faith, and maybe that's the life of faith as we grow older in our faith. Maybe here's the thing, that the Christian life isn't about getting rid of this tension between how do I function in the world, and yet this feeling of growing away from the world, this tension that I feel. Maybe the Christian life isn't about getting rid of this tension, but it's about learning how to live in the tension and realizing that it's part of us growing in our Christian life. And I'll get to what I'm talking about in a second. And if I'm honest, and I think a lot of you probably feel this way too. You've got maybe a good life, or you're doing what you're supposed to do. Maybe you started, some of you, taking your faith more seriously or something like that. And then there are moments but there's something or that you're still not fully satisfied. It's sort of, there's just something missing. It's just like C.S. Lewis said, it's there, and yet it's you can't get it. There's something inside you that says, that there's just more. And then there are moments when everything looks clear. Everything may look clear, and I won't bring this together, but something inside of you says, hold on, that tension, that pull, that's not random. Well, here is the union of those two articles. And here's what I want to say. If I could say it in one sentence, there's this. When this world starts feeling foreign, as a Christian, when this world starts to feel foreign, you can't trust what you see the same way anymore. Okay. Now think about the first article was this, there's something within us that, that this world is not going to satisfy. The second article is don't go by what you see, wait for the tug. How do you put that together? You put it together is this: when this world, and the more we grow in our faith, when this world starts to feel foreign to us, then what happens, you can't trust what you see the same way anymore. And put it another way or two, that what faith starts to look like is the more that this world feels foreign, the less you react to what you see, and the more you learn to wait for what God is saying. Or the more I grow in my faith, the less that this world satisfies me, and the less I trust it to lead me. Okay, I'll say that again. That the more I grow in my faith, the less that this world satisfies me, and the less I trust it to lead me. Now that's a tension in there. But what I want to say is that is a tension that we don't need to say, well, there's something missing in my life. That's actually something that you're growing in your faith. Now, there's a lot of examples in the Bible where the Bible talks about you and I as Christians being this foreigners or having this tension. Um, Jesus said this in the Gospel of John. He said, they are, and when he prayed to the Father, they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. And he said this in John 15. He said, if you belong to the world, it would love you as its own, but I have chosen you out of the world. Peter said that I urge you as foreigners and exiles in this world. That's what he calls us. And then when you think about this is great because I love this thought of living by faith. When you think about the great people of faith in Hebrew chapter 11, that here's what and he talks about that some of them saw all this happening, but they did not get to see it in completion. Here's what the writer of Hebrews said. The writer of Hebrews said they admitted that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. They were longing for a better country, a heavenly one. They were foreigners and strangers on this earth. And and then again, Paul says in Philippians chapter 3, he says, but our citizenship is in heaven. So when you look at that, now I've only been, some of you have been out of the country several times. You've been in the, whether it's a vacation or a mission trip or whatever. I've only been out of the country once, and when you go out of the country, you're the foreigner. You don't know the culture, and you don't know how to act. A lot of times you don't know the language. Listen, nothing. I ain't throwing off on this. I can go to a Mexican restaurant, and they're talking Spanish, and I don't know what anybody's saying or doing. I feel lost going to a restaurant. Can you imagine that you and I are dumped into a country where we don't know anything and we have to learn all this? Well, this is exactly what the Bible talks about. As we sort of grow in our faith, we realize that we are all living in a foreign country. That and what that means is there's always going to be a longing to go home. Okay, that our citizenship is in heaven. It's not here. So what does this mean? Let me give you two or three things quickly, and then I'm going to let you add something. Let me give you two or three things. So what does this mean for us then? How do we act, or what does this mean for us, or what do we do with this information? First of all, just stop trying, and I'm saying this to me, stop trying to make this world satisfy me. Okay, stop trying to make this world satisfy you. That don't mean you're not supposed to have ambition. That don't mean you're not supposed to have drive. But it just simply means that you and I, as Christians, are foreigners in this world. And this world, as C.S. Lewis said, is never going to satisfy all of our needs and desires. So we need to stop trying to make this world satisfy us. Okay. Some of us are wearing ourselves out trying to get something out of this world that it was never designed to give us. We want more money or more success or more experiences. And we get all those things and it still doesn't settle us down. And it's because, and it's not because I'm failing or you're failing. It's because that this world in some areas was never meant to satisfy you. Okay. So first of all, it means quit trying to make this world satisfy us. And the second thing is stop reacting to everything you see. Here's what I have noticed about Christian people who've been a Christian for a period of time. They just don't react to everything they see. They if you're if our world and our government and everything else, man, that's I don't care what side you're on, it's a mess. And it's been a mess for decades to me. It's just a mess. But you know what, and you see people, I see people online whose whole trust is in a president or a government. I mean, their whole trust is in a president or a government. And they think if there's a certain party in, or if there's a certain president in, then you know what? Things will get better. And then you have the other side, and they think, you know what? It's like right now, there's a Republican president. And Democrats will say, you know what? If we just had a Democrat president in there and a Democratic government, things would be better. And if when that Democrat, and they're going to get in, because it's cyclical, it's always going to happen. When that Democrat gets in, there's a bunch of Republicans that's going to say, you know what? When the Republican president gets in, things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. Friend, listen, here's what you notice about Christian people who are mature and are growing in their faith. You know who they look at as their president? They look at Jesus as their president. That it don't matter who's in there in some other place. But, because if you say, or if somebody else says, you know what, I sure would feel better about my country if so-and-so was the president. Or I sure would feel better about my country if this party was in control. Well, that's wrong. You and I can feel better about our country or our life or the nation or the world because our trust is in God. He is our president. He is the person we put our trust in. And what I noticed about mature Christian people, as I look at them, they don't react to everything they see. Why? Because they trust the person who is in charge. And they just don't react. Some of us, we're just setting the hook on everything that looks like a strike. We just setting the hook on it. Bad news, man, we panic. Opportunity, we jump too fast. Conflict, we react. And then, see, so not everything that looks real is real. And not everything that feels urgent is from God. And what we notice is that, you know what? Don't be so quick to react. Wait for the spiritual tug. Learn, and that's the third thing, learn to recognize the tug of God. God's going to start leading us, not through what you see, but through what you sense about God. You're going to sense a pause. God, don't do that. If you don't, you're going to sense God's sort of a check, a restraint, a quiet, that God's saying, not yet. But he'll give you peace in the middle of all those things because that's what he's promised to do. So that's what we see when you look about, this life that we're supposed to live. So last thing here. But here's the tension too. I live in this world right now that again, I feel like I don't belong. And what it makes me want to do, okay, let me tell you what it makes me want to do. It makes me want to go buy a farm somewhere and build a cabin and turn off everything that's around and live my life to myself and God, right? I mean that's what we want to do. Just leave me alone and I'll do my own thing. Okay. But but you know what? God, I didn't make up the rules. God never meant it to be that way. God never meant it. For some reason, we are into this time of we live in this time where people say, I believe in God, but I don't believe in religion. When everybody says that, I want to say, well, what define religion? They say, I believe in God, but I don't believe in religion. Or my faith is just between me and God. Or they say, you know what, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. People say that all the time. And I always think to myself, well, if it's just between you and God, if it's just all about you and God, then God just needs to take you on to heaven now. Because, if it's just you and God, then you can you can worship, praise, pray, you can sing, you can do all that stuff. If you're just going to be with heaven with God, if it's just about you and God. Listen, I want it to be about just me and God. I really do. But God don't. God don't. God needs you and I right here because he has people in our lives that need us. And that's exactly what Paul said. He said, man, I've got a desire to go to heaven, but it's a better need for you that I stay here. So the world is not my home, but the people in the world are my assignment. The world's not your home, but the people in the world are your assignment. Now, when I say assignment, not that they're not your goal, they're not a goal, they're not just a number. It's not that, but they are people that are in this world, whether they're believers or not, that are dearly loved by God, and they need to see and they need to be dearly loved by me and you through Jesus. And the only way we can do that for them and with them and to them is as we interact in their lives, even when we feel foreign to the world that they and we are living in. So don't let this world think that it can meet all your needs. It can't, because you're not made for this world. Don't react to everything. As you grow in your faith, those things will be even greater. But that's not a failure. That's not bad. That's just you growing in your faith, me growing in our faith. But we still can't separate ourselves because God has us here for others so they'll have the same thing. So let me have a prayer. And before I have a prayer, I'll let you give me a prayer request, anybody. And then if you've got any comments or criticisms or corrections after that, we'll let you keep your mic muted and we'll not listen to them. So prayer request. Hey, pray for me. I've had some health issues with my heart and breathing and things like that. And I tell you, I need to get back from Texas. I'm flying out tomorrow. And just, I need to get to my doctors and let them just do whatever, figure out what's wrong. But I mean, I'm good. I rode 18 miles on my bike yesterday. But still yet, I'm liable to wake up today and have a hard time breathing. I don't know. It's just whatever. But pray for me. Pray for our event, the golf event. I love Jimmy Ray, my buddy up there in the dark. He's going to put on a great event. He's going to.
I'm in the truck.
He's a great host, and I love him like my buddy brother. Anyway, prayer request. Anybody, you can unmute your mic if you got a prayer request. If not, that's okay.
I'd like to pray for my father.
Okay, Steve, good to see you, buddy. What's his name?
Gene Clarence.
Gene?
Yes, sir.
Gene. Who else?
Hey, Gary, this is Jonathan. How's it going, everybody?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I would like you guys to pray for my son, Michael, that the Lord would just smack him on the head and let him realize how much he's loved and how he just doesn't have to do this life on his own. I feel like he's just not, he needs an awakening. Just pray for
do that. Absolutely. Somebody else? All right, let me pray. Lord, thank you for these guys. I pray that you bless them today. Bless their homes, bless their families, bless their children, their spouses, their churches, their businesses, their places of employment. Give them health, give them prosperity. God, give them emotional health and mental health and physical health. And I pray that we all would portray you today as you really are. Help us to understand and realize that we're not of the world, but we're in the world. And you left us here because there's somebody needs us. and help us to be joyful in this, even though we feel like we're not a part. Let us portray you and the good news with joy. And and this morning I pray for Michael Lawrence. I pray especially for him, and God, that you would send somebody in his life, or what outside of his family, just somebody into his life that would begin to build in his life the things that you want to bring to him, and the love that you want to show him. And I pray for that. And God, I pray for Steve's dad, Gene, and I thank you for Steve. I pray for his dad, that whatever that situation is, that you not only we meet it, but you would exceed it. And not only that, but you would give them peace in the situation, and bring about the need there. And God, I pray for me. I pray for my doctors, my health. I pray for those things, that you'd protect me and in these next few days and weeks. And God, as we begin to do a couple more events in the next 2 or 3 weeks, that you would use me and these events and to bring you glory, and to that we too could portray you as you really are, and help people to see, to see you. And I thank you, and I pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right. Appreciate y'all. So anybody if got to leave, I understand. It's 8:01 or 7:01 or 6:01, wherever you're at. And if you need to check out. But if you want to unmute your mic and you got a comment you'd like to share with the rest of us, we'll just hang around here as long as you want us to.
That was a great, Gary. That was a great message today, and it really hit home with me right now. I'll call you later and talk to you about it.
Okay. All right.
Hey, good word, Gary. It's good to be back with you guys. I've been gone for a 40-day journey through the wilderness.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a good time of devotionals on every morning during Lent. But what you were talking about, I want you to, I think that we need to remember this and think about this is, sometimes that tension gets really deafening and it really hurts, because we're not made for this world. But then stop and think about the world that you're made for, and that world, that hope that's coming. Think about how good it's going to be. If even if we're experiencing good things right now, how much better it's going to be, how much more alive we're going to be, how much, the Bible says that when we're in Christ, we're made new, but we don't understand what new means. We just understand it. It's not what it's supposed to be right now. And so I love the tension. And I think that we should live in that tension and just strive for more, for others, as you said. Good word today. Loved it.
Thank you, man. And yeah, Jonathan, every day I caught him a couple of times. He was doing 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time. He was doing his Lent devotionals, and they were good. He helps me a lot. Going to need him here in a couple of weeks too, maybe. Anybody else? Everybody good?
Praying for you, Gary.
Thank you, buddy. I need it.
Yep.
All right, guys. Holler if you need me. I'll see you, Lord willing, next time. I'll be flying to Texas tomorrow. Make way, Abilene.
Right.
Love y'all. See you.
See y'all.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary.
See you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.